What's good, viewers? I'm back, and today I got something for my boxing fans. The current antics of Saul Canelo Alvarez have been really annoying, to say the least. For sure, there are a lot of Canelo Alvarez supporters, so I know I will probably get a backlash for this. The man has an entire country backing him, and for some of those supporters, he can do no wrong. To no surprise, he's the cash cow in boxing right now and is currently preparing for his next fight against super middleweight WBO champion Billy Joe Saunders. And this is a huge step back up in competition for Canelo Alvarez because as of late, his competition has been extremely inferior. I do not enjoy seeing Canelo Alvarez in there with lower level opponents on a consistent basis. He is considered amongst many to be the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. And to me, his current opposition has not been a testament to that. I am aware that Canelo Alvarez is only 29 years old, but he's been around the sport so long that sometimes people forget that he turned pro at 16. He has a lot more time to add on to his legacy, but man, I just don't know if I can see this man fight another Avani Yildirim or another Callum Smith. And I am totally aware that Callum was ranked the #1 super middleweight and the WBA super titleist and was no pushover, but he clearly had no resistance to the onslaught by Alvarez and did not come to win. But with that Yildirim guy, there was no way that Canelo Alvarez should have been in there with that guy. I have no idea how a guy who didn't fight in 735 days consecutively could be a mandatory. But that's the business of boxing for you. After this picture surfaced of the two, it was rumored that these two were sparring partners after all, and this was not a good look for Alvarez. Besides Canelo Alvarez taking on Billy Joe Saunders next, there's been a lot of big names that have been calling this guy's name, but yet Canelo has stated things like he's not fighting Mexican fighters, and since then he's been fighting fighters from overseas, basically just calculating and cherry picking fighters who present a lesser challenge to him. And there are guys in each weight class that Canelo Alvarez campaigns at that want smoke. A guy like Jermall Charlo, who presents a dangerous challenge to Canelo Alvarez and vice versa, has really been calling for this Canelo fight, and it seems like Charlo really wants this fight. This would be a great fight, and it would do very well being that Canelo Alvarez is a superstar boxer that is of Mexican descent, and Jermall Charlo in his own right is a great attraction and is from Texas. And this would truly shake up the world of boxing for sure. But Charlo's been calling Canelo Alvarez out for years now, and Canelo hasn't paid him any mind. Canelo only holds the franchise belt at 160, and it seems like he appears to be focused on his campaign at 168 pounds. I would hope Canelo Alvarez isn't ducking Jermall Charlo. I mean, I know Jermall is a fearsome competitor, but he does have his flaws as well. And this is a tough fight for both competitors. This would be the biggest fight of Jermall Charlo's life and could really enhance his status if he could beat a Canelo Alvarez. But like I said, it doesn't seem like Charlo is on Canelo's radar, and he hasn't been since he first called Canelo out. And the likelihood of this fight happening is definitely in the air. Now, Canelo really did something that I really did not like, and I really thought it was a cheap move, especially being that he is such a great boxer. Canelo seized the opportunity when David Benavidez lost his WBC title on the scale and was granted to fight for that vacated title against Yildirim, the guy that I just spoke of. For the smart, non-biased boxing fans, everyone knows what Canelo Alvarez is doing. He's cherry-picking through divisions and maneuvering himself to be in the best position to win. He went up to 175 to fight a shot Crusher Kovalev for the WBO belt. He would go on to stop Crusher Kovalev and win the belt. Unfortunately, he had to vacate the belt due to the WBO's policies, but he still maintains his status and privileges as a WBO super champ, including the privilege to be the designated mandatory challenger to the WBO title holder in any division. Looking at this just really upsets me. I mean, Crusher Kovalev by any means wasn't a bad fighter. He was just coming off a knockout win over the previously undefeated and unproven Anthony Yard. But why fight Kovalev, who was not the best 175-pounder, rather than fighting Artur Beterbiev, who was and still is the IBF champion and won the lineal title a month after Canelo stopped Kovalev? And I'm sure Canelo Alvarez isn't the only one avoiding Artur Beterbiev. He has a 100% KO ratio and is 15-0. And most definitely to this day, the best 175-pounder. If or when Canelo Alvarez gets past Billy Joe Saunders, you could possibly expect him to face Caleb Plant for the IBF 168-pound title, for Canelo to potentially become undisputed at 168 pounds. Plant didn't look that spectacular in his last performance, even though he won by unanimous decision. It just wasn't the performance that many spectators thought that he would have. He was expected to get the stoppage, but unfortunately he did not, and his defense was looking a little questionable. I would imagine Canelo Alvarez seeing this performance by Caleb Plant will make him a little less hesitant to fight this guy next, especially being that this will be his final destination to become undisputed if Canelo Alvarez gets past Billy Joe Saunders. But yet again, this still wouldn't be a breeze for Canelo Alvarez. Caleb Plant is an exceptional fighter, but he has his flaws. Every fighter does. But stylistically, this is a very interesting matchup for Canelo Alvarez. Now, earlier I spoke on David Benavidez. He is one of the best 168-pounders right now. And Canelo expressed that he will not be fighting any more Mexican fighters. And this Mexican fighter is very, very talented. He is 6'4", and he will present a lot of issues for Canelo Alvarez. But unfortunately, this man will not be on Canelo Alvarez's radar at all. I wouldn't even waste my breath talking about the fight that could have materialized between Canelo Alvarez and Demetrius Andrade. They're not under the same promotional company. I believe Canelo Alvarez is a free agent, but they do fight for DAZN, which I believe is a product of Matchroom Boxing and Golden Boy. So this is a fight that definitely could have happened, and I do not know who's ducking who in this situation, but it just seems like both fighters are uninterested, and maybe Demetrius Andrade got uninterested because Canelo Alvarez refused to give him a chance. But who truly knows? All I do know is what I'm seeing, and Canelo hasn't really been in a big fight since the 2 Triple G fights, in my opinion, which took place 3 to 4 years ago. And I just believe Canelo is padding his stats. Translation, I just believe that he is fighting fighters with just a name and no significance. But as of now, he's taking a step in the right direction, taking on Billy Joe Saunders. And I truly hope this is the beginning of a new chapter for Canelo. So no more 6'5" fighters who don't fight back, or fighters who haven't fought in 2 years. Especially no fighters who just stand there and take a beating by Canelo Alvarez. With no footwork, no significant boxing ability, just stand there. I truly believe Billy Joe is coming to win. And when this fight happens and Billy Joe looks like Canelo's last 2 opponents, maybe it's just a testament to how great Canelo truly is. And that's pretty much it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you for watching.